Sitting here in the sun, eating dumplings. For a moment, you can almost forget that the world is in danger. Huh? What's the matter, you? You look troubled.
It's nothing, really. Just that whenever I look away for a moment, I seem to end up with fewer dumplings. It's a real mystery. Wouldn't you say, Idia?
Did you say something?
And see? I turn back this way and once again, fewer dumplings. Such an enigma. Isn't it, Magnolia?
Indeed. An enigma.
Did you hear that, my dear Whitson? This has all the makings of a case!
Right you are, Sholmes.
Huh?
The owner of those dumplings reports that each time he looks away, his dumplings go missing, one after the next.
Yes. It looks like we have a serial dumpling napper on our hands, Sholmes.
Are the dumplings being abducted for monetary gain or out of personal spite? Or is there some hidden tragedy behind it? Quite the conundrum.
What's with those two? Another plate of dumplings here, please? And some more of that strong brewed tea, too. And the same here, please. They do seem quite the odd couple.
Sholmes, it's almost time for you to be going.
I say so it is. Blast these interviews.
So who do you hope will recruit you? The hard-boiled police inspector or the sharp-witted private investigator?
To be frank with you, old chum, I have not been able to decide. One of those, wallaby mochi, if you please.
I believe that's wallaby mochi, Sholmes. And I'll have the same. At any rate, how fortunate you are to have the choice. Really, what a family you come from. This inspector from the municipal police is related to you in some way, didn't you say?
Yes, good Uncle Heinkel. Now, Inspector Argent Heinkel, to be precise.
Idio, what's the matter?
And that private investigator, too. Kunoichi Kikio, the silent sleuth, as her fans describe her. She's from your mother's side of the family, is she not?
What?
Oh, drink! Drink!
Here you are, sir. Stay with us.
I'm sorry, but would you mind keeping it down?
Are you kidding me? You expect me to keep my mouth shut after hearing something like that? Heinkel and Inspector. Kikio a private eye, for reals?
Just who are you fellows? Oh, I say, this wallaby mochi is marsupialicious.
Soames, so this is where you've been hiding. I'm afraid I'll have to postpone our interview today.
Argent Heinkel, holder of the Knight Asterisk. As erstwhile captain of the Eternian Sky Knights, he was once Idia's commanding officer. A hardened warrior, dedicated to his cause, and trusted by those who serve him. By what strange trick of fate do your paths cross anew?
Inspector Heinkel, pray tell, what is the matter? You look positively aflutter.
There's been a homicide in Stockport.
In other words, a murder!
Isn't that what I just said? Never mind. Do you want to help or not? You can't have anything else planned.
Heinkel, what's going on?
Idia? You heard us, didn't you? I'm busy with an investigation. Idle questions can wait. I'll be going ahead, Sholmes. I'll see you at the crime scene.
Something just came flying.
A kunai, and with a note tied to it, no less. Quickly, let us examine the evidence. Asked to investigate Stockport murder. Must delay meeting. Kikio. Aunt Kikio!
Konoe Kikyo, the silent Kunoichi, holder of the Ninja Asterisk. Idia encountered her in Heartschild when Kikyo served as a key member of the Black Blade's covert forces. Too shy to express her thoughts to others face to face, this woman of many masks hides great secrets within her silence. By what strange trick of fate do your paths cross anew?
Dear Aunt Kikio, won't you ever speak to me directly? But never mind that. Come, Whitson, a case calls.
Right you are, Sholmes.
Hold up. Can someone explain what is going on? Argent Heinkel, Knights Captain of the Eternian Sky Knights, is now a hard-boiled inspector in the Unohana PD. And Kikio, lethal assassin of the Black Blades, is now famous as the Silent Sleuth?
Things certainly have changed. And what about those other two?
Oh, Sholmes and Whitson? They said they were members of a sleuthing club.
A sleuthing club? So they're private investigators too?
Not quite. Apparently it was a school club, but they've kept at it since graduating. They're just playing detective.
Give me a break. Aren't they both older than me?
Oh, but that Sholmes fellow comes from quite the family. His grandfather was a world-famous private detective. His father is a police commissioner, and his mother is a celebrated mystery novelist. What's more, his aunts, uncles, and cousins are all involved in solving crimes one way or another. What a pedigree!
So, what should we do, Idia?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Well, I mean, as the Eternian representative in the party.
I was afraid you'd mention that. They said they were going to Stockport, didn't they? Come on, guess we are too.
Idia, you're late.
I'm sorry, sir. We were just... Wait. Why am I in trouble?
Miss Idia, forgive me. I did not realize that you were acquainted with my dear Uncle Heinkel and Aunt Kikio.
Don't worry about it. Just don't tell me about any more of your relatives.
Now then, allow me to bring you up to speed. The victim was one Lord Earl Gulliver, famous around these parts for his considerable wealth. Real well known. He was alone in this room when he was stabbed in the back by an unknown assailant. He appears to have died on the spot. These three here claim to have discovered the body simultaneously. First, we have Lord Gulliver's wife, Madame Golddigger. Next, the current landowner of Stockport, Mr. Landlesser. And finally, Lord Gulliver's financial advisor, Noah Interest of Eisenbank.
The murderer is within our midst!
Soames, get yourself under control, or I'll do it for you.
So sorry, Uncle. I've just always wanted to say that.
So the three of you discovered Lord Gulliver's body simultaneously. Could you tell us the circumstances?
We came to inspect the property. My husband was interested in purchasing it as a vacation home. At first, we toured each floor together, Earl, myself, and these two, until we reached this top floor, that is. My husband, a military history buff, became so enamored with this room that he showed no sign of leaving.
And so we escorted the madam down to the 5th floor to show her a bit more of the fort.
My word! Did you see him? He's like a child in a candy store.
And why shouldn't he be happy? Why, to have such a young and beautiful wife at his age. Lord Gulliver is a lucky man indeed.
Now, if you would allow me, madam, it would be my pleasure to show you the 5th floor.
No, if you don't mind, I'd like to look around on my own a bit.
Of course. As you wish, milady.
The Lord's a real character, isn't he? To think of buying a gloomy fort like this as a vacation home. And his wife. A young woman wanting to be left alone in this kind of place. She's an odd duck herself.
Well, I'll have not a bad word to say about either if they take this place off my hands.
Indeed.
Oh, back so soon, milady?
Yes, I've seen more than enough. Is my husband still upstairs?
Engrossed in the ambiance of the fort, no doubt. What say we go rouse him from his reverie?
And so no one had gone in or out of this room that whole time? If so, that would practically make this a bona fide locked room mystery.
Indeed so. Mr. Lesser and I were standing at the base of these stairs the entire time.
Precisely. And no one went past us to reach the upper floor.
And the murder weapon.
This single-edged dagger here, it was found on the floor beside the victim. It matches up to the stab wound as well.
I've got it! The murderer must have prepared a weapon of solid ice, which he or she then used to deal a blow to Lord Gulliver's head.
Genius, Sholmes! Then the ice would have melted, leaving us with no murder weapon.
The cause of death was clearly the stab wound. I'll thank you not to muddy our investigation with frivolous conjecture, Sholmes.
My dear Whitson, have a look at this rope.
Brilliant, Sholmes. Surely the murderer used this rope to lock off the room after escaping.
That's our rope, you fools! It says YHPD right on it!
Do you see that there? A dying message. The murderer is Whit. Whitson, you couldn't have!
Sholmes, you know I would never...
Just having a laugh at your expense, old chum.
I hate to say it, but aren't those two just getting in the way?
You do well to ignore them. His parents begged me to give him a chance. I suspect it was much the same for you, Kunoichi Kikio P.I.
To think that you became a private investigator. Well, I guess it's no more surprising than Heinkel working for the police. So tell me, how does the silent sleuth see this case? As talkative as ever. That's some trick to pull off an investigation without ever opening your mouth.
All we know at present is that the victim was stabbed in the back with no sign of any struggle. We can assume that the murderer was someone close to the late lord, which rules out Mr. Lesser, as the two had only just met today. However, that fat banker might be a different story. Mr. Entrance is worth looking at, as of course is the young wife. She has the most obvious motive, but we have no actual proof, not to mention how she could gain entry.
La vache.
That is simply astounding. I've never heard anyone speak so rapidly. It's like she didn't even stop to breathe.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it never fails to leave an impression.
Sholmes, she spoke!
Right you are, old chum. I dare say we have just experienced the Silent Sleuth's ninja power. Breathtaking.
But Kikio, do you really think she could kill him in one go with those skinny arms?
Quite so. Aunt Kikio, there must be another suspect hiding beneath this very...
You! Zip it! You know, Kikio, the murderer must have been a pretty skilled assassin to pull this off. Someone as skilled as, say, you?
What?
Lord Gulliver was stabbed right through to the heart. To deal such a blow with a rusted and neglected knife, such as this one here, would surely take two hands and the full weight of a body behind it. Yet look at this. The silver blade is discolored and there's purple mottling at the base of the neck. Evidence that the blade was coated with some kind of poison. All the murderer had to do was scratch Gulliver's skin, and here, this cut on the victim's leather belt shows that there was at least one missed strike, a derelict weapon, a wasted poison, a needlessly difficult method of killing. In short, this murder was no experienced assassin, but a rank amateur.
Right, not at all your style. I'm sorry for suggesting it. Which leaves us with the wife as the prime suspect after all.
Madam Golddigger, I'm afraid we'll need to take you into custody as a material witness.
You mean, as a suspect? Oh, ridiculous! I didn't do it!
I can understand why you might say that. Madam, I do not enjoy using force. I suggest you come along quietly.
What insight, what acumen, to determine so much from a single knife! It pains me to discount my uncle's work, but there is nothing so impressive as the instincts and deductions of a private investigator. Do you not agree, my good Whitson?
That's all we've learned about Lord Gulliver, sir.
Carry on, then. We need to determine the motive, whether it was monetary or some personal grudge. Next!
Inspector Heinkel, sir. We searched the walls from top to bottom, but found no evidence of any secret passages.
You gave them each a good whack, I trust?
A good what?
I'm asking whether you were thorough enough to give the walls a good hard knock or not.
No, sir.
Then don't say you searched top to bottom. Get some more men and start knocking walls before I knock you one in the head. Leave not a single stone unturned. I want every inch of this fort searched.
Yes, sir.
Uncle, I must say, my deductions have led me to believe that the murderer must have hidden beneath...
Oh, we have work to do, Sholmes. Try not to get in the way, will you? How about you, Idia? Have you noticed anything odd?
I'd say the banker and the landowner both strike me as a bit suspicious.
You think so, Well, what have we found out?
Sir, we did a background check on Mr. Lesser, but found nothing particularly noteworthy. He seemed quite pleased with the prospect of having Lord Gulliver take both the land and the building off his hands. The same for the banker, Mr. Noah Entrust. He stood to gain nothing from Lord Gulliver's untimely death.
Any ties between the two?
None. They say that today was their first time meeting one another.
If those two weren't in cahoots, then this really is a locked room case. We've found no evidence to identify a suspect definitively. But if we consider motive alone...
The one who would benefit most from Lord Gulliver's death would be his wife, who stands to inherit all his massive wealth.
True, but would she really try something so obvious?
So you thought so too. Let's look into her story without any preconceived notions. Listen, men, every shred of evidence we gather brings us one step closer to catching our perp. A formal investigation is painstaking and laborious. But if we're thorough in the task, we will surely bring the culprit to justice.
Yes, sir.
What command! What presence! Now that is what true detective work is all about! Sorry, Aunt Kikio, but I think the Force is the place for me to lead an investigative team. Ah. Surely you agree, my dear Whitson? The poor woman. Material witness or no, to be confined to the very room in which one's husband was brutally murdered.
At least she should be safe, with the room being locked and all.
Keep watch on Madame Golddigger. No one comes up or down these stairs, got it? Sholmes, what do you two intend to do?
We thought to examine this floor in further detail.
By Jove, I think I've got it!
What?
Sorry. I just had the sudden urge to say that.
Ugh. The rest of you come with me. The lower floors need thorough inspection.
Huh? What happened to Kikio?
Before we knew it, she had dashed off somewhere. Oh, and she left behind this note.
Investigating downstairs. Maybe she has a lead.